And we'll move on to announcements here. Let me see. Some of our announcements for this week. This is, of course, our final week. Keep up the hard work. Don't slack off in your final week. I've seen it happen before. I've seen grades plummet before. I want you guys to stay up in that A range where most of you are. You're doing great. A few things that are going on at CCC that I wanted you to know about are, and you might mark these on your calendar, Thursday, April 14th, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. we're having a career fair at CCC. Please come by, bring a friend if you'd like to, and they can learn a little more about some of the majors that we have at CCC, meet some instructors. Oh, Katie, send me an email. Or are you talking to Chris? Let me see. Hey, Katie. I'm trying to keep up. Okay. No in general. Okay, sometimes the chats throw me off. Well, you have plenty of time to catch back up. You can do it, right? No problem. Also, Thursday, April 21st, which is the following Thursday, from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., we're having an open house. And again, it's a great opportunity to come out and see our various programs, meet our instructors, and maybe you're already majoring in one area, you're good to go, but maybe you have a friend that's also looking for career training and maybe they're a little interested in, you know, medical assisting, in HVAC and cosmetology, whatever their area might be. And this is a great sort of no pressure way to come out and see the programs and meet people. So I wanted you guys to know about those, April 14th and the following Thursday, April 21st. Okay? Let me see. Oh, for the externship, Katie, fantastic. So you've got some previous learning experience, right? Too much. Well, that's okay too. we love that. Too much is always a good thing. For our class, we've got all of our assignments, whether they're due this week or they were due 2 weeks ago. I would like for you to go ahead and turn those in. I will always give partial points, even for late assignments. So at no point is an assignment worth 0 points until after Saturday. So Saturday at midnight is the magic hour. Be sure and get all of those turned in. Okay? And thank you for being here, basically. I'm glad you're here. And Blanca, was your question about the externship? Yes? Okay, what major are you? Business admin. Okay. I'm not really familiar with what their process is like for the previous learning application. It's called PLA. But I know for ECE, what you do is you can contact your department head or your admissions representative. They will send you the PLA, and it's a form that you'll need to fill out. And you're basically showing that you have previous experience in your area of expertise. Yeah, it's a little bit of paperwork, you're right, Katie, because you're submitting a resume showing us where you've worked, where you've gotten this business experience. For me, it would be early childhood experience, so my students might have worked at a daycare before or a preschool. And for my program specifically, if they've worked over 6 months in that area, they can apply for previous learning experience. So if they have, if they've already had this experience and they wouldn't really gain anything from doing an externship, they submit this application along with $25. It will be reviewed by a board, and if you're approved, then you're basically able to skip your externship. So again, it goes off your experience, but be sure and contact either your department head or your admissions rep if you're interested in it, and they could give you more specific information from the business department. Because I don't want to steer you wrong, I can kind of tell you how we do it, though. It can be fantastic because you then wouldn't have to do your 180 hours of experience. You're not being charged for a month-long class, so you save money and you save time. So it's actually a fantastic thing. All right? And if you have any questions, email me and I can point you to the right person. We'll see what we can do for you, okay? Fantastic. All right, our next thing is our final project. I know you guys have been working on this. You're almost done. It's due, actually I put due Sunday on accident. I would accept them up to Sunday. I take that back because for my other course I have a Sunday due date. But they're actually due Saturday. So for this course, you've been creating a comprehensive project over the chapters that we've covered each week. You've been using the information that you've learned each week. And so far, you have developed your product, you've defined your target audience, you've developed your prospecting plan of how you're going to get your customers, and you've decided how you're going to sell your product. So those are the things you've already done. And in week 4, this week, your section of that is you're going to add on how will you enhance your relationships with your customers, which we'll be talking about today. What activities will you use to enhance your customer satisfaction for this product you've developed or service? And imagine that you have now been promoted to a sales trainer at your company, and you'll need to describe the sales training process that you would lead your employees through. So pretend you've been promoted, you're sales trainer, and you've got these new employees coming in. How are you going to train them? And a lot of this information can be found in your textbook. We'll talk about it a little bit today as well. So this is your final section on your final project. The project's worth 100 points altogether. Please no plagiarizing. We're very strict on that. And email me, call me, Facebook me if you have any questions. Some of you have this done already. Some of you are freaking out about right now because you really, really, really need to get started. I know some people work better under pressure. I realize that. But this is a big project, so hop in there, okay? Final project. You can do it, right? Let me see. I had a slide that didn't quite show up right there. That's okay. We'll just skip over it. All right, we're going to go over Chapter 9 today, guys, on expanding customer relationships. Like I said, it deals with the 4th section of your final project. But first, I have a visitor that I'd like to introduce you to, okay? I hope I don't get flogged by the chicken on my live lecture, but I'd like for you to meet Autumn. She's one of my favorite chickens. She's actually our ECE mascot. Here we go. I know, how often do you get to see a chicken for your business live lecture, right? I'm going to tell you a little bit about Autumn. Since Tank the rooster was crowing so much last time, this is Autumn. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She is, she's called an Americana chicken. She lays the most beautiful blue-green eggs. If you've ever seen the blue-green eggs before, they're amazing. You can look them up on the internet. They're there. Yes. So she's lovely. She lays about 3 eggs a day. So she would be a great addition to your household. She's getting ready to flog me. Let me get her wings down. If you were to buy Autumn at a chicken swap or a poultry swap, she would cost about $45 because she's kind of special, right? And last but not least, I know that's kind of high for a chicken, but blue-green eggs. And lastly, a lot of people don't know these things about chickens, but they can actually be trained to stay in the house. You can train them to go outside to potty, basically, so you don't have to worry about the mess of cleaning up. And so they're great to have in town as well as in the country. So this was Autumn. She's lovely. Oh, Autumn is trained, yes, yes. She was just sitting down here by me, so I'm getting ready to put her back down. Let me see. There we go. So there was your little treat for the day. Were you impressed by Autumn? You were, right? Maybe they're a little bit smarter than you thought they were. Did you have any previous chicken experience? Blanca, you do? Chris or Katie, do you guys have any previous chicken experience? No, just eating them? Yes, they are tasty. They do. And Katie does. Okay. And your dad would make you chase them. So I have a couple people in the class that know a little bit about chickens then, and Chris just knows that they taste really well. And Katie, you grew up on a farm. Okay, so you may or may not realize then that all the things that I just told you about Autumn were complete lies. The only thing that I told you that were true is that her name really is Autumn. Okay, so I was selling my product. I was selling Autumn to you. I had you, Chris. I did. Blanca and Katie, were you a little suspicious? I had you, Blanca. Katie, did you believe me? A little. Okay, a little. Well, let me tell you the truth then. Autumn is not an Americana. She is a Wyandotte chicken. They have beautiful black and white feathers. She does not lay the blue, greenish blue eggs. She lays brown eggs. But Americanas do lay a blue-green egg. And I've been bringing some of them up to CCC to share with some of my coworkers. So maybe I'll bring them by to you someday, Chris. So she's not that type of chicken. She doesn't lay that type of egg. Chickens only lay about every other day. Some chicken breeds can lay up to 1 egg a day, but that's about the maximum. So we would not get 3 eggs a day out of a single chicken. She's not a $45 chicken. There may be some out there, but she's actually about a $3 chicken. And we've had her since she was a baby. So we really weren't sure what color she was going to be even, because she was the typical little yellow chick. And lastly, no, they can't be trained to go outside the potty. Now, they do have such a thing, though, as chicken diapers. So you can have a chicken in the house as long as they are wearing a chicken diaper. And they have these for ducks as well. So we do bring ours inside, but they don't free roam around the house. Sometimes we'll just bring them in for a treat, to be held, to be petted. Exactly. They really don't control it, Chris. You're right. It happens all the time, anywhere, everywhere. So I wanted to just give you guys an example of selling a product. I wasn't telling you any little bits of truth there, except the fact that her name was Autumn. And I guess the difference is I do have a little chicken background. So I can throw in some of these facts about other chickens and make some things up and maybe talk you into it, right? Could I have sold you Autumn for $45 if I told you she was in fact a trained chicken? Blanca wants one now. So let's go on then with expanding our customer relationships. And honestly, I want to talk about telling your customers the truth now. Being honest. We spend too much time and effort learning about our prospects to not follow through and assess their satisfaction. So let's talk a little bit about our customer satisfaction. First of all, some of the things we can do to enhance our relationships with our customers, providing useful information. If that information I just provided you about chickens was useful, that would have been great, but it wasn't. It was completely false. If you provide useful information, it needs to be relevant, time quality, very timely. Oftentimes you'll have salespeople that maybe repeat information that's from 10 years ago, and it's really time to do a little update on that. You need to do your research on your product or service because we find out new things all the time. We need to expedite our orders and monitor installation of our products. You guys have probably ordered a product online before and it didn't show up. Or maybe when it did show up, it was the wrong thing. So that's instantly a negative strike against whatever company you've just used. And because of social media, you're very likely to share that experience on social media as well, sort of spreading the bad word, right? So we want to pay special attention to this. We want to train our customer personnel, as you will be describing in your final project. Train even when contract does not even call for it. We still want our personnel to be very knowledgeable, to be able to share all the information that you need as the customer. We want to correct our billing errors. Has anyone ever had a billing error corrected in your favor? Maybe you got a little money off because you caught a wrong amount, Chris? Yep, because you paid attention to detail, right? AT&T, fantastic example right there. Yes, I have. And you probably had to maybe ask for a manager as well, right, Chris? Oftentimes you have to be persistent and don't be afraid to go higher up if necessary. Especially with your larger corporations. You did, and had to call four other times because they still didn't fix it, but it got almost a $400 credit. Yes, Chris, way to go. Exactly. And I ran into a similar situation with a previous business of mine in which I had to spend hours on the phone with AT&T, but was able to negotiate that price down. You usually wind up having to pay more. Exactly, Katie. It's hard to fight for that, isn't it? Sometimes to stand up for yourself and go, hey, that price isn't right, or that's not what you quoted me. So don't be afraid to do that. So correct your billing errors. You'll build more loyal customers that way. Oh, when the price is too low. Yes. Yeah, I can see that as well. Remember, the customer after the sale is another way to build a relationship because you want to check back with them. We're talking about that more just in a minute. And you also want to resolve complaints if you've had issues. You want to be sure that customer is very satisfied with how it was handled. And, you know, if it wasn't handled correctly, you want to be able to learn from that experience and do it better the next time. That's what we're all about, is sometimes the bad things can help us learn and grow as a person, as a business. I wanted to bring this up. What do you guys think? If you want good customer service, be a good customer. How do you feel about that? Do you agree with this? Do you disagree with it? Are you somewhere in the middle? Blanca thinks this is true. Katie says, oh yes. Chris, what do you think? Your first thought was, no. So it can, you're right, Chris, it can kind of go either way. And, you know, I think it depends on what type of person you are as well. So what do you say, but as a customer, if we don't voice something, then it is our fault. So sometimes you do have to bring things up. That's right, just as you did with AT&T. You could have said, oh, okay, they charged me $400 extra. It's okay. No, you need to be able to approach it correctly, though, right? I've been in these situations before as well, and I kind of come from the side of if you want good customer service, be a good customer. I'm always polite to the people I'm working with. I've worked in food service. I've worked in food production. I've had so many different jobs. I've worked at the tag office in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, which was scary. So what the thing is, I knew the people didn't want to be there at the tag office. They don't want to pay those taxes or those fines or penalties that we sometimes have to add. So I tried to be as nice as possible. Even when the customer was getting angry, I would try to talk them down. And, you know, in some cases, you do have to go ahead and stand up. But as a customer, I think it really does go both ways, you know. So as a customer in the tag office, I'm the same way. I understand a little bit of both sides. So I come from this camp. However, there is a point that sometimes you do have to go ahead and voice that opinion. That's right. So it's interesting that we saw, you know, we had females on one side and male on the other side. I wish we had a couple more in here so that we could get a little more balance in there. All right, providing useful information to our customer. We want to continue to develop and enhance the relationship after the sale by providing useful information. So when we talk about providing useful information after the sale, do you have a product or service that you connect with there? Can you think of an example of providing useful information after the sale? And I've seen a few of you guys post these in our discussion boards. So I'm pretty sure you do. And you might even have an example. What's a way you have done this before? Have you done a personal call where actually you showed up at the customer's home or place of business? Have you made a follow-up telephone call? Have you sent something in the mail? Have you sent an email? Oh, you do follow-up text with your colors. Oh, that's great, Katie. Good idea. To see if they're liking the color, if it's the right shade that they wanted. Is that what you basically mean? And Chris, you do send online surveys. That's right. Like the SurveyMonkey surveys. Exactly. And, you know, in my line of work in teaching, I know I've done all four. I've talked to the students personally. I've made the telephone calls. I've sent out little cards saying we miss you if I've got someone missing in class for a certain amount of time, even though we're online. And definitely we deal a lot with emails. I think it's kind of interesting that on this list of providing information that social media isn't also on here. So don't you think that should actually be a number 5? Social media, I talk to my students through Facebook. We do a lot of advertising on Facebook, right? Twitter, Instagram. So I think they actually need to update this exhibit in one aspect, that's a great way to help follow up. Just this morning, I have a student who's graduated, who's working in ECE. I sent her a Facebook message and said, hey, how's it going? Are you still working at the same place? Are you liking it? So that was a way to easily touch base with her, because I know she'll have her phone on her, and to get feedback on that. And also, if she says, no, I'm looking for another position, well, there we go. We can jump right back in and try to assist her with that. So let's add social media to that list if we could. A little bit about training your customer personnel, which you may someday do. Say you're the boss, you've been an entrepreneur, you've opened up your own business, you have new people coming in, you want to ensure the customer has access to the appropriate, oh, I'm sorry, I need to take this back. Your customer may also need training for the product that you're providing. Who was it? I think it's Chris that had brought up the TVs, right, as an example, that you may need to provide training for the customer as well on how to use the product. And if they have problems, they need to be able to call and get customer service. Serve as a training facilitator, ensure satisfaction with that training. I'd like to bring up a recent purchase of mine on ensuring the customer has access to proper training, and I could probably take it off pretty easy. Okay, about, anybody know what that is? Katie, Blanca, Chris, what's that? A Fitbit. Yes, yes. So I finally got one of these little puppies about, I guess it was about 4 weeks ago. I jumped into the Fitbit frenzy. So many of my coworkers use them as well, and they compete against each other. And I thought, well, that'd be fun, and it would make me get up off my booty a little bit. So I got the Fitbit. I bought it in a box. Have you guys bought one before? You have, Katie. Great. Well, I'll be able to hop off of you. It's a fitness tracker, Blanca. So it tracks your steps, it tracks your how well you slept at night, and it comes with some great apps and software so that you could also track your food or your water intake. It's pretty comprehensive, but whenever you buy it in the box, you're basically just getting a box, but no instructions. That's kind of what got me. I don't know if it did you, Katie. There was nothing. It basically said, go online to activate your Fitbit. Exactly, Katie. So you go to the website. You're really not sure even what to do, but they give you a website address. You go to it. You put in some information. You download the app that goes along with the Fitbit. It doesn't tell you to do all these things, but just kind of making some assumptions. Now, an older person, let's say somebody over maybe 60 years of age, would be very frustrated by this. So they're not necessarily marketing to that age group is what I saw. They're marketing to the younger ones. They're going to call their grandchildren. That's right, Katie. What do I do? So then I got the app. The app is up. The app is also not self-explanatory. It took me a few days to figure out the sleep tracker. How do I do that? I was like, it's not working. I've paid $100 for something that just counts steps. This is horrible. But it's my favorite part now too, Katie. So eventually I did figure it out. It took some trial and error, and maybe if I'd done a little more searching. So to me, it's kind of a good example of something that didn't really provide any training. You get a website. There wasn't even a walkthrough on how to use the app. So there's a few things that I think they could really tweak to make it appeal to other generations as well, right? So give that, and of course they have feedback available. I could email, but I want to be able to do it all myself. That's my plan. So training, our ethical dilemma, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but these do come out of your e-textbook, and I love that. That there's several different ones for each chapter, so you can read through. This one I thought was very applicable. Susan Preston works for a manufacturer of ball bearings that sells to a variety of manufacturers and retail outlets. As she was reviewing the latest invoice schedule to go to one of her largest and longest standing customers, Susan noticed that her customer was being billed at the newly increased prices, even though she had technically sold the product prior to the price increases. Susan's customer knew that a price increase was coming, but was unaware if it would be on this shipment or the next. Susan would stand to gain a significantly larger commission on this order at the newer, higher prices. It was questionable whether her customer would even catch the price change, much less be aware that this order was supposed to be at the older, lower prices. So think about this from this customer satisfaction standpoint, from the idea of building these relationships. If you were Susan, what would you do here? Oh, let me see, that one hop through quick. Okay, this was Katie. I would be livid if for you as a customer found out that someone charged more so they could make more. I agree. Chris, I would correct the prices because it seems the agreement was before the change. Yeah. Exactly, and why chance losing them over one order? Me too. Fantastic, guys. I think that's actually the most ethical course here, and you would be, again, going a long way as far as building. Chris, drop the mic. This would be great as far as building your relationship goes with this customer. And you know, to even highlight it a little bit, I think I might send an email pointing out that the prices have gone up for the next shipment. However, you have stuck to your word and given them to them at the previous price. So you can get even more brownie points in that area. Fantastic. That's what, you guys are funny. So I'm glad that everyone agrees on this one. Good job. Okay, some of our customer complaints, some of the main customer complaints that we see, you guys will connect to probably almost all of these. Late delivery, damaged merchandise, invoice errors, out of stock, shipped incorrect, product shipped incorrect order size, dealing with one of these right now. Service department unresponsive. Product does not live up to expectation. Customer not informed of new developments. Customer's problems not being taken seriously. Improper installation. Need more training. Price increase with no notice. And cannot find the salesperson when needed. So all of this happens at your work every day, Katie. Is that what you just said? You know, so much of it can. Yes, and so much of this can be so overwhelming and of course, very negative to the business itself. So as a business owner, you want to do all you can to try to cut back on all these typical complaints. I, as a consumer, whenever I order something online, after I've decided on maybe what model that I want or what type I want, I'll then go immediately to reviews on the product or reviews on the company because it's great sources of information, right? So chances are, if you guys would have been seriously in the market of buying a chicken over here, she's still over here in her little basket, you might have researched the different breeds, how to keep them, you know, the potential problems, and you might even be able to look at resources on who to buy from as well. You can actually get chicks or eggs in the mail. So these are all things you can check out. If there's a lot of these things on your list of complaints in these reviews, chances are you're going to lose customers. So you want to try to resolve those complaints. And this wouldn't be a proper sales course if we did not talk about this, because it's going to happen. We can't be 100% all the time. We want to build relationships to the point with our customers so that they are comfortable with complaining. They're not afraid to come to you. They're not intimidated to come to you with an issue. We want to listen carefully, get the whole story, not just bits and pieces. That can be dangerous. Ask the customer what he or she would like for you to do, so exactly what they're looking for so that we're not trying to read their minds to help make them happy. Gain agreement on that solution. Maybe the customer has decided exactly what they want. You repeat it back to them to make sure this is what they're looking for, and then you take action. And as always, we then follow through with our promises. We add value to the product by doing this, and we also follow up with the customer to be sure that they were happy with this resolution. I always love it when I receive emails or phone calls from companies when this has happened and they're checking to see if I was happy with it. So resolving complaints. What are some of the expectations we have of our salespeople? This is a big thing because whenever we walk into maybe a mall, we expect the salespeople to be warm and friendly, welcome you to the store, be reliable, helpful, speedy, accurate, show empathy towards you, provide you with some tangibles. So there's certain things that we want out of our salesperson. Again, think back to your experience with salespeople, and have you ever ran into these issues before? Number one is a huge one. If you came into a business and the salespeople ignored you, didn't welcome you to the store, maybe you felt like you were sort of being snubbed by the salesperson, would you go back? So that's one of the most important things, is that you are friendly from the get-go and that you assist this customer in a way that they are needing or wanting to be assisted. Of course, we've probably also had instances when the salesperson was too pushy or too helpful, trying to push you into making that purchase. So you don't want to cross that line. You have to, through experience, figure out where the middle ground is. So for right now, we're almost to the very end of our week 4 final live lecture. Do you have any questions about the final project, about our chapter, about chickens? Anything that you can think of right now? And if you can't think of anything, then please send me an email later on if you do. Also, I want to remind you guys, if you've received any type of financial aid reminder via email, be sure and check your email this week. If you've received an email or a phone call from financial aid, be sure and get with them as soon as possible. We're starting the new session, and whenever new sessions start, financial aid often needs signatures or maybe an additional document. And if those aren't provided, those can sometimes lock you out of getting started in your new class, which will start on Monday. So I want you guys to be sure and check that, okay? Other than that, we are done with live lecture. It's been great having you guys in class. You really have been a fantastic group. I'm not just saying that. Yeah, you've been a great group. So have a fantastic day. Thank you, Blanca. Thank you. Thank you, Katie. And Chris, have a good rest of your day at CCC. Yeah? And if you think of any questions, get in contact with me, okay? Will do. Fantastic. All right. Bye, guys.